I am an African.
Yeah, just moving a little bit away from Zambian politics. I think you've played uh, a huge role not only in Zambia but also outside of the country as well. I think the most recent issue or the most pressing issue that some of our fans also wanted to discuss was, of course, the Zimbabwe August 2023 election, which was the second election that took place in Zimbabwe after the fall of Robert Mugabe. And your role as the SADC chair caused quite a bit of a stir, to say it like that, among the ruling party particularly. And of course, it met the applause of the opposition camp. So I don't know if you could shed some light on that and just speak on that as well.
Sorry, it's the SADC Chair Observer Mission for the
Oh, sorry
elections.
about that. My
Yeah.
mistake. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That's what I was going to correct. Yeah, thank you so much, Zenge, for helping me there. No, I was not the SADC chair. I was SADC head of mission, particularly for the Zimbabwe election. I'm no longer, the head of mission because that mission is over now. Yeah, I think that this experience that I had in Zimbabwe falls squarely in line with my call as an evangelist. When I got involved in in church work, I came in as an evangelist, taking the light to where darkness was. When I joined Zambian politics, my entire crusade is to bring morality and integrity in politics. So when the president of our country, President Hakainde Hichilema, asked me if I could represent SADC in Zimbabwe as a head of mission for the election this last August, I went there with really no agenda of any form. I had never played that role at that level before, and I had never led a SADC mission before. And so I was there with a very open heart. The instructions given to me were clear. Number one, never, as head of mission, you have 68 observers that are going to go with you. They are from the 16 different SADC countries. They came from different countries, 16 SADC countries, and I was heading that group. So this group was eventually distributed in all the provinces of Zimbabwe to do one specific job. And the job was basically to observe the election, nothing else. We didn't go there to change their constitution. We didn't go out there to make people vote a certain way. I personally didn't go there with any preferred candidate. That is why when I arrived in Zimbabwe, my team and I, the first call was on President Mnangagwa at State House to go and listen to him on the preparedness for the election. Then after that, we met the opposition leader, Mr. Chamisa, and we listened to his story and the concerns that his team had. And all we were doing was take notes of what the stakeholders were doing. We eventually interviewed several people in Zimbabwe and institutions that had something to do with elections. And so our job was very, very clear and easy. Observe, and out of the observation, write a report of what you have observed and present that report to the Zimbabwean people and to the international community. So that was one of the easiest things I've done, because all they wanted us to do was to use our eyes and our ears and then not challenge their constitution, not challenge their anything, but just make sure that they are conducting that election in accordance with their own laws that they have set for themselves. And also the Electoral Act that they have decided to put in place by themselves, and to ensure that the election is free and fair for all those that are participating. And so those were our areas of concern as we watched. So after the 68 observers from across the country came back to Harare and brought their reports, a team of 24 sat down to go through these reports and look at those areas that are common from all the corners of the country. And they form the basis of the report. And in that report, we praise the Zimbabwean government and the Electoral Commission for things that they did right. But we also did raise deep concerns about things that were observed, not by Nevers Mumba, by the 68 observers that went across the country. We also highlighted those things that were done in contradiction to their own laws and Electoral Act, and also contrary or below the standards of the SADC principles and guidelines on democratic elections. So for us, we had three things, Nathan. Number one, we had to look at the constitution of Zimbabwe and ask ourselves as observers, are these elections taking place within the confines of this constitution? Two, we looked at the Electoral Act of Zimbabwe. Are these elections following the prescribed space on how elections should be conducted in Zimbabwe? Thirdly, we had our own little booklet, which is called Principles and Guidelines for Democratic Elections of SADC. And we compare what the report is saying from the different provinces to those three documents becoming the pillars around which we make determination. So when that was done, as leader of the SADC mission, I was given the odious responsibility to now read that report that was written by technocrats and the Secretariat of SADC, helped by our own drafting team that comprised of people from different countries, 16 countries. So basically, that's how you evolve the report. So that's all I did. I read the report, and I was very, very clear about the report, that it represented things that we observed on the ground. Unfortunately, Nathan and Zenge, the ruling party of Zimbabwe, ZANU, took great offense after we issued our report in Zimbabwe of the election, as we had observed it as SADC. Unfortunately, the ruling party found offense in predominantly in one sentence that said that the election of August in Zimbabwe, the 2023 election, fell short of the international democratic standards of an election, and also fell short of the SADC principles and guidelines. But they have been praised for areas in which they did well, especially that the election was conducted in an atmosphere of relative peace with absolutely no notable violence. And we gave that to them. But I think that maybe it's because SADC has never questioned Zimbabwe before about any kind of sins that could have been committed during the election, that they found that SADC did them deliberately did that. There was no intention to write a report that would injure Zimbabwe, all the Zimbabwean people. And to answer your question, it is for this reason that a lot of Zimbabweans, even if you go online today, welcomed our report with both hands, because they said time has come for Africa to start having true reflective reports that talk about the challenges that we face on the African continent. If we all hide our weaknesses and our failures, our inabilities to provide the very best product for our people, when and how are we going to improve? If somebody comes to your house and says, oh, there's a dead rat there in the corner, please remove it, and you hate him that is exposing my filth, I think then you don't love yourself. I think anybody who comes and tells me there's a problem in my house and gives me an opportunity to clean it up is my friend. And I think that SADC needs to move, and I know that it happens all over the world, but I think SADC needs to continue to be truthful, as that is the only way that we can improve the story of democracy in our region and on our continent. If we tell lies to each other and scratch each other at the back and tell them we are doing well when our people are dying, when our people are not able to express themselves, we are doing a great injustice, not to foreigners, but to ourselves. And Zimbabwe is a brother. And just like Zambia, I would not allow what I would hate to see happen in Zambia to happen in Zimbabwe, because we are neighbors and we are brothers. So what's good for Zambia is good for Zimbabwe and vice versa. So that is the story of Zimbabwe. And I'm very proud of the team that I worked with, one of the most intelligent.
I am an African.